Welcome to Real Estate and Taxes with Lakshay. I will be helping you minimize your taxes. Welcome to my Tuesday session on real estate and taxes. Today, we're going to be talking about how can we start a business with $0 in Canada. For those of you who don't know, my name is Lakshay and I am a Canadian CPA. We have a couple of offices in Brampton and Mississauga providing accounting, bookkeeping, and taxation service. So today, we're going to be focusing on a brand new idea. A lot of people ask me, hey Lakshay, we want to start a brand new business in Canada. What should we start? Well, my suggestion is start a short-term rental business for people who are out of province. So what does this mean? It basically means that if let's assume you had a property within Canada and now you have decided to go back to your home country, but you still have rental property. So what you can do is you can provide them short-term rental services or property management services. So this idea will basically give them the peace of mind to have their property looked after by you and your team. So you must be wondering, why am I suggesting this as a business and not something else? Well, it's because of the geopolitical reasons within Canada. The housing crisis have led people to kind of move back to their country. There's recessionary fears. There's people getting laid off. So this is a perfect opportunity for someone to start and pivot into a brand new business. All you need is a laptop and know how to upload and remove your things on Airbnb, Vrbo, and Booking.com. So now that we understand why are we going into this business, let's list out the things that you can offer to your clients as a property management service. So first is optimizing the listing. So on Vrbo, Bookings.com, as well as any Airbnb platform, your job would be to maintain the booking, the listing, communicating with the guests, and making sure that it's very much presentable when they check into the property. Once you've figured out a marketing team as well as a team that can manage the guest services, next would be looking at the bylaws. You might want to consider Toronto's website in order to make sure that you're meeting all of the criteria. There's criteria in regards to 180 days as the only time that you can do short-term rental. It needs to be a principal property if you want to do. And there's also 6% accommodation tax. So all of these, maintaining the regulatory compliance will be your job and your team's job to make sure the client does not have any problem when the tax time comes around. So your unique selling point in all of this is you understand the taxes, compliance, as well as the bookkeeping. You need to make sure that you keep a very close eye on what is coming in and what are your expenditures. So that would be your unique selling point. The best way to do all of this is to sign up for an accounting software or bookkeeping software, which will technically track all of your income and all of the property related expenses. And if you don't know how to do all of this, you can reach out to our team and we'll help you set up a system which is easy and efficient when the tax time comes. So now that you have understood what your unique selling point is, you need to understand what are some of the tools that are required for you to be successful at this venture. Number one would be setting up a business bank account that can keep track of all of your expenses, income, and even setting up a corporation. The second thing is looking at the softwares. Softwares like Airbnb, Hospitable, Guesty, PriceLab, these are all good softwares to look into and get yourself set up. Lastly, what you would need is to prepare well-written contracts through a lawyer to make sure your liability is protected and make sure that your owner of the property doesn't get sued for anything problem that happens. So now you must be wondering, I have set up everything. How do I find clients? Well, the best way to find clients is to network with your realtor friends, brokerages to help them, refer you some of the new clients. What you can do is work with them and make sure that you onboard them as a client and make sure you provide them the best service for property management while they're out of province. In order to make your job easier, I think there's platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn to basically spread through social media what are the type of services that you are technically offering and what is your unique selling point. And last but not the least is running ads on Google. You can technically offer short-term rental compliance checklist as a guide, as a lead magnet actually, and basically collect more and more leads who want to do something like this and then offer them discounts to onboard them and get started with your business. Now let's look at some of the sample earnings that you can make. So let's assume you have 5 properties. If each property is collecting $2,500 rent on average, so if it's 5 properties times $2,500 a month, that works to $12,500. And if you charge a 20% management fee, you're in profit. You're basically making $2,500 a month as income for managing and doing the due diligence. And the best part about this, you can technically, after learning the game for 6 months, you can hire virtual assistants to manage the guest check-in, guest checkout, and manage the property. You don't have to actively sit on the computer and manage the listings even. So the overhead is very low, and it can be a good business for someone who wants to get into the entrepreneurship journey. Now let's talk about the business growth potential. Well, the long-term plan is to make sure that you don't even need to have a property under your name to do this. So you just need internet connection and a laptop, and it's very easy. It's high demand from mostly foreign and out of province investors. So if you can pitch to them, you're in profit and you're in gain. And in future, what you can do is you can offer bundled services for not just managing the property, but also offer tax compliance and year-end accounting services, which we can also partner up with you in order to make this journey more successful and more smooth. So what are my final thoughts on all of this business idea? Well, the only thing I would want to recommend is this business seems very easy, but it is not a part-time gig. It is a full-time commitment. You do definitely need to look at your listings on an active basis, interact with guests, answer queries, and don't take it as a hobby. Just make sure that you are aware of all the restrictions within the city of, whichever city that you're practicing in. In Toronto, there are rules around 180 days only for rentals, 6% municipal tax, HST collection, as well as principal residence requirement to do. The only additional job I would say is making sure you install right locks and right cameras in order to make sure whoever has passed on the property to you as a client, they are safe and everything else is working in the proper manner. And once you have a secret sauce and smooth operation, then you can hire virtual assistants and then basically make it grow. So that wraps up today's presentation. Thank you very much for joining. We'll see you next week on Tuesday. Thanks.